welcome to Love Always Self. I'm Shyra.
Hi, y'all. I'm Karista, and thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Love Always Self.
Hi.
Hello and welcome.
Hello. And thanks to all you wonderful subscribers. We really appreciate you subscribing to our channel. If you are listening to this or if you're new to this podcast, please feel free to, and you're on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, notification bells.
Don't feel free to do it. Just do it.
Please. Please and thank you. How's your week going, Carrie?
Week has been pretty good. Let's see. I just got back from visiting some friends in California, so that was really nice. Like the weather, oh my gosh, was such a treat.
Yeah.
Now, I will say we are recording this ahead of time because I will actually be across the ocean in Portugal when this episode airs. So just wanted to let you know that we are pre-recording this because we don't want you guys to go without seeing our beautiful faces and hearing our wonderful angelic voices for too long because we don't want you to forget about us. But looking forward to that trip. Just got back from a wonderful trip. Again, the weather, I just cannot tell you. And, you know, this is usually because we're in Texas and still experiencing 100-degree weather. Yeah. Of course, when I got back, it felt like we had a cold front because we were only hitting 105 this week rather than 115. So what a treat.
Yeah. It hits you when you get off that plane coming back, because that's how I felt when I came back from Colorado, having that fresh mountain cold air. And I get home and it was like heat door. It's like, whoa.
Yeah, it almost knocks you off your feet for sure. You can definitely feel it when you're breathing. Yeah. It's a little thicker on the lungs, But this week has been going well, partially because I spent most of the week traveling. So only 2 days of work and
it's not bad. That's not bad.
Yeah. Spent a whole day when I got back just collecting roofing estimates. So that's exciting.
That's so funny.
Yay, adulting. Home ownership is the best.
That's a meme all by itself. Yeah. Agreed.
How about you? How are you doing this week?
This week has challenged me. This week's challenged me quite a bit. A lot of ups and downs and a lot of in-your-face moments that we're going to definitely talk about today.
Okay.
So I had a lot of ahas and the realizations. So that's been very interesting. But one thing that stayed very consistent this week, very happy to have you back to be able to grab you and have a conversation.
It's really nice that we're doing this in person today, for sure.
Yeah, that was actually kind of a surprise. That was pretty funny. I was completely set up in my office, like ready for you to jump on to StreamYard for us to record virtually. And then I was supposed to have a food delivery arrive, and I looked out my window to see if they were there, and I saw your car, and I was like, oh shit, we're doing this in person today. Yeah. And so I had to run into the studio and move my laptop in here and the lighting and stuff. And I was like, oops.
All good,
Great surprise, though.
Yeah.
Great surprise.
I definitely prefer good surprises versus bad surprises,
Yeah. I got a few bad surprises this week, and that was not fun. I'm not going to dive too much into those. I don't want to focus too much more on that, but I do want to focus a little bit on the messages that I was receiving from those experiences.
I just realized I missed the opportunity to arrive on your doorstep with a bow on my head.
Oh my God. You'd be my present. My birthday's tomorrow at the time that we're recording this. So yeah. Oh.
And I'm looking forward to that too. Just hanging out, not working, not that this isn't work, but it's still work,
Right.
So I'm definitely looking forward to some playtime.
I know. Gotcha.
Yeah. I was thinking while you were saying talking about your challenges that you were experiencing this week, what a relief it was to be able to step away from all the day-to-day responsibilities.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's really nice when you get those moments. And well, Shall we dive in?
If you're ready, I have no idea what we're diving into, but let's go.
That's true. I didn't tell her. Yeah. Okay. So this aha moment that I had, this epiphany, or see previous episode when I said thought dump. I want to be clear and I want to be specific with this one because it was so important. So every morning when I wake up, and I've described this before, if you're one of our followers and listeners, I've described this before, that when I wake up in the morning, I tend to have a recall of the dream that I've just exited out of. And I try to write that down as soon as possible. But what I didn't say is that usually following that is where all of this, like, it feels like a floodgate of like all the thoughts that I have, kind of like, I got to do this today. I got to do this today. Or this is on my mind. Oh, I never did that. All of a sudden, these, like, what I'm now calling and recognizing as patterns are coming into thought. So now I didn't put two and two together. I've been aware of that, right? And I've been working through some of the ones that feel less good and giving them positive affirmations to try to help change some of those patterns of thoughts first thing in the morning. And I know that that helps and assists with setting about the rest of your day. But the thought dump that I had was what a lot of people call downloads, by the way. But this came in, and it was like, it goes a little something like this. And I want to be sure that I kind of give more specifics around how it felt. Because when I'm connecting with Mount Glass, our guides, right, I can tell that there's a difference in not only the energy that I'm feeling from the message, but I also can tell that the tone is a little different than mine. So it's almost like it feels like me, but it's not me. Kind of like when you remember in your head how your mom sounds or your dad sounds when they talk, but you're not talking to them.
Okay.
Like, so you hear, like, the way that they speak, you get kind of a visual in your head of their body movements, maybe the way that their facial expressions are. So I know what that feels like from my guides. I've practiced with them understanding that, right? So I knew that this message was a message from my Mount Glass team. Okay. So I knew that, and not to mention, it was such a mind-blowing moment for me that I was kind of like, what? So here's what they said. So what they said is that when you're waking up in the morning, all these thoughts that kind of come flooding in really quickly is trying to tell you what's in your energetic field. And what they described when I said energetic field, what do you mean by that? Because it's like, I understand it scientifically speaking, or like a lot of the different spirituality talks that we have, and some of the science that actually says that you have like an energetic field in,
Like the auric field kind of thing.
right, the auric field, right. But the way that they explained it to me was that we're all made up of energy. Everything is vibrating at a rapid speed, and in order to appear and feel solid to us, including ourselves, right? So everything has energy around it. Everything is producing a field of some sort. But us, as spiritual beings in a human form, we are amplifying a lot more. But within this energetic field, and they kind of like represented this like clear bubble around my figure, and in between the expansive part of the bubble, the most expanded part of the bubble, and my physical form, they were showing me all these little particles.
Okay.
And they were calling those thoughts. And that those thoughts are becoming the mirrors, both front and back, of everything that you experience. So it has a lot to do with how the rest of your day is going to play out, all the things that you're attracting, because they're not just mirrors or magnets. And when you are asleep and all of the little thought forms that you create from the physical calm down, and you're more connected to your spiritual in your sleeping state than you are your physical, especially during the beta waves, I believe is what they call it, or theta waves or something like that. They were explaining that now you are kind of participating in a different dimension.
Okay.
Right? So when you wake up, you're reintegrating back into this 3D world, and your higher self, you or your Mount Glass team, whichever you want to call that, your spiritual team, they're trying to explain to you what's in your energetic field. So all those rushing in thoughts that you have in the morning,
is actually telling you exactly what's in your energetic field
Interesting.
and how that's impacting. And then I just saw the words, let go.
Your favorite. Second favorite.
Second favorite, right. I just saw it as clear as day. And it was like, it was pointing to all the things that I no longer want in my life that subconsciously and sometimes consciously I'm still focused on. But it's like literally telling me every morning, this is what's there. This is what's going on. And I was like, holy shit. Like, okay.
So what do we do with that information?
So that was the next question that I had. What do I do with that? And it was like immediate response, right? I didn't have to think or anything, just respond. And it was like, now you know what to pay attention to.
Or even why.
And why. Right. So this morning I played with that a little bit.
So let me ask you real quick. When your guide said that's what you're needing to pay attention to is the negative thoughts so that you can work to transmute them?
Yes.
Okay.
So because I keep asking, why am I getting repeated messages of letting go? What is it that I need to let go of? And it was clear that we tell you every morning.
Oh. Well, shit.
Right.
I mean, that makes a lot of sense because I agree with you. I have that same floodgate opens and a shit ton of like thoughts that some of them feel random while the other ones I'm aware of have been occupying my mind.
Yeah. Yeah. And what was interesting was remembering to put it into practice this morning.
Tell me about that.
So I recognized a lot of it has to do with my day job. That was a lot of the first thoughts that came in. A lot of it had to do with fears that I have that are very subconscious driven, but I'm still participating in them in some small way. And then I was finding more and listening more into the ones that were happier. Like, I am grateful for this morning. I am grateful for this home. I am grateful for the water next to my bed that's clean. I am grateful for my puppy that I'm playing with. I am grateful for my beautiful husband that brings me coffee every morning. And the more I focus in on that, I notice that I'm not normally so perky in the mornings. My energy and my personality was shifting more to the lighter side of the day. And so today I had a lot of things hit me at once, and it was frustrating things, but I didn't feel as impacted by them today. And I thought that was so interesting.
It's like in the morning, you have this opportunity to set the foundation for the day.
To set my energetic field up to receive. Yeah.
When you were talking, I was thinking about or a thought about a book that I'm reading came into mind. The book is called Velvet Rage. It's a fantastic book.
Ooh, sounds cool.
The author is a psychologist, and he's writing it from his perspective and the perspective of clients about a gay man's experience growing up in a straight man's world. It's a phenomenal book, and I don't think it should be limited to just people that are looking to support or have family members that are gay or just for gay people. Like, there is so much incredible information in that book to assist you in working on your own self-love, self-value, and prioritizing your personal validation rather than external validation. So, phenomenal book. One of the points in there that I remembered was this, in the third, I almost said third half. In the third section or fourth section, there's a lot of skills that are discussed to assist you in working through negative patterns in relationship with yourself and relationships with other people. And this section was talking about prioritizing, focusing on joy. Because when we experience joy, it's fleeting, it's quick, it's a few seconds or moments, and then it poof disappears. When we experience something considered negative or, disruptive, we actually focus on that for at least 20 minutes without any consciousness. Like, this is our unconscious pattern.
Right.
So that's why we encourage you to make it a conscious pattern of recognizing the joy and taking time to acknowledge that and bring that into your awareness so that you can spend more time focusing on joy, less time focusing on negative, and being open to seeing the moments that you wouldn't have noticed before that are filled with joy.
Yeah. Agreed. Absolutely. And that was the best part of, it's like so many of us walk around and we have these thoughts. And I know I had these thoughts like quite a bit before I really started diving into our own abilities, right? Mm-hmm. And a lot of the thoughts that I had were, why do I feel like so many terrible things continue to happen? And why does it always happen to me? Or, man, I just must have really bad luck. Or
the victim mindset.
Right. And so, it was the taking that power back that we discussed, and realizing that I have a say in pretty much all of it. And so
that's a tough pill.
It is a tough pill. It pisses me off sometimes.
Because it would be easier to blame other people and put the responsibility on other people.
For sure.
But the reality of it is you are giving those people power and letting go of your own.
Right.
And ultimately you have the choice.
I agree. And it's hard to not feel like you're gaslighting yourself. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
It is. It's like, focus on being happy. It does. It feels very okay, because there are still the things that I'm working through to be able to focus on being happy more often, or focusing on the joy. And that was the best part of the message that I got from Mount Glass for me. And that was, you are now shown exactly how to discover what it is that you're surrounding yourself with, right? Now, let go, whether it's going to be an easy one to let go or not, and some of those might take a little bit more work to let go of, but you got to do it. And that will help you refocus towards the joyful moments and see the joyful moments.
You don't have to do it, but
for me, I do.
If you're wanting to experience more joy, this is probably a really good step.
Yeah.
But if you don't want to experience more joy, then don't. You can dismiss this altogether if you want. Again, that's your choice. That's what I'm trying to say.
Right.
It is absolutely a choice. And, I think it's interesting, this habit culturally to want to blame everybody else.
Yeah.
Like, it goes all the way back to the stories in the Bible.
Dude,
Adam and Eve.
Probably
blaming the snake. Anyways.
I wonder if a star, when it exploded and it split off into two stars, it looked back at the other star and was like, what the fuck? I blame you for being all the way over here now. No, I don't know. Polarity, you know what I'm saying?
Anywho.
So I love this thought. I think it brings a lot of awareness to the information that feels like it's plaguing us in the morning.
Yeah.
So it's giving it usefulness rather than just being frustrated and irritated and unconsciously choosing to allow that to be our foundation of energy for the day.
Yep. And I literally just heard loud and clear in my head. And this is sometimes why, when you're fighting against something, that resisting and persisting, sometimes it persists so it can show you what's still there. And so what you're still focused on. And when I say focused on, it doesn't have to be that I'm thinking about this one thing all day, every day, consciously.
Right.
Because sometimes it becomes subconscious. And that was the other aspect that they showed me, was your physical brain does this scientific, look it up. I don't know where, but look it up. Google. Your physical brain does this thing that where you tell it something over and over again, it decides it's a pattern, and then it creates a pattern, and then it reinforces said pattern, right? So
it's the neural pathways that are being developed.
Exactly.
It's like
Science.
building a road, right?
Yeah.
So it's or maybe not even building a road, like walking a path.
Mm-hmm.
The more you walk that path, the more it becomes a deeper entrenched pathway that is worn down. And so you have to like actively pursue creating another path.
Right.
Within the brain.
But then we have that emotional connection to the thoughts that we're training our brain to create patterns off of. And because we have that emotional connection to it, that emotion's coming from more of a spiritual side of the house, right? The non-physical is what I mean. So this is how they were showing it to me.
I'm just thinking non-physical. Yes, the emotions trigger creation of hormones, like the stress hormones.
It affects the physical.
Yeah,
right.
no, yeah. That's why I was
Yeah.
just getting there.
Gotcha. Sorry. So they were saying that like, okay, so you have your physical brain creating those neural pathways of repeated patterns that you've told yourself repeatedly. And usually you have some kind of an emotion associated with that. Mm-hmm. So say like every morning I wake up and I say, oh my God, I'm not a morning person and I really don't want to go to work today. And then I do it again the next day and I do it again the next day. And usually it's at the same time because around the same time the alarm clock goes off every morning.
And
right?
What do you know? You're not a morning person.
Exactly. And so now I have created my own energetic field where somewhere within there, I am attracting things that align to those thoughts.
You're creating your own box.
That's right. I'm just shoving myself right in there. So seeing that laid out and what I got from Mount Glass was like the biggest whoa.
Again, I think this is hugely helpful.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about like, I know first thing in the morning, I tend to snooze, hit the snooze button.
I'm a snoozer too. It's cool.
And usually by the time I get up, I have to leave the house within 30 minutes. And so I know for me, there's two ways that I can think of right now to do things. Either get up earlier and try and jot down those thoughts. That would probably be the best way. The other way is I take it to the park where I stop off in the mornings and journal it. But that's 45 minutes.
I was going to say, I was like,
to an hour.
Remember by then?
Right. Past when I woke up.
Yeah.
So if you want unadulterated information, it's going to have to be first thing in the morning.
Yeah. I use speech to text because first thing in the morning, I don't necessarily like all that light from my phone.
I don't communicate well in the morning. Words coming out of my mouth is not usually recognizable or understandable.
And for some reason, despite all the beautiful gifts that I keep getting of little tiny baby like notepads with the cute little baby pins, just like shrink it and make sure it stays on the nightstand, it's still gone.
Well, those are some suggestions though.
Yeah.
Is like evaluating where can you fit that in, that new study of learning what it is that's in your energetic field by paying attention to the information that is on the hamster wheel in the monkey mind first thing in the morning.
Yeah. There was no way I was going to keep this to myself. So I was like, wow, that is wildly helpful. And it made a difference in my day today, honestly. And I did not expect you to come over. And yet here you are. And I was actually really excited about it. And so I was like, great. Wow. And everything seems to be going my way today. I got a random gift that I was not expecting. Thank you to my beautiful sister-in-law and your husband and your girls for sending me that. And that was just an unexpected treat.
Yeah.
And so today has just worked out exactly the way it's supposed to. I mean, granted, I wasn't supposed to work today, but I did. And although everything got done, and now I won't have this whole thing on my mind all weekend that I would have had I not had this easy path to get it done today, which I was given today. And whether that was I was given that or I created that because that's what I was bringing in because I started off on that focus.
Either way, you're enjoying the experience of it.
Right. It did help with that flow state. That's for sure.
Very nice.
All right. What are we doing?
We're doing a card reading today.
Oh my God. Collective card reading time, y'all.
Woo, woo. Today we are using the Psychic Tarot Oracle deck by John Holland.
I do love me a good John Holland. This deck, I'm going to say this because this is my favorite one. I'm not supposed to have favorites, but I do. And it's the one that's most connected, that I'm most connected to.
Yeah.
So I might even not have to use this book today.
Alrighty, let's just go intuition.
Let's go.
Card number 1. I can't get it up. It's not usually a problem.
Slippery little suckers, huh?
First one, sacral chakra.
I knew it.
What did you say about these? The different borders? They're different types of cards.
Oh, yeah. So this is a numbers card. So
Don't they all have numbers?
No.
Oh.
Well, they all have numbers, but this one is a numbers card. So they have emotions card, they have a spirit card, a chakra card.
This would be a chakra
this is a chakra
card.
card. Just kidding. Whoops.
Chakra card.
I actually even color coded the tabs to match the color border, but this one, I didn't have a black tab little sticky thing. Anyway.
Okay. So this is card number 2, the sacral chakra. That's interesting because isn't this the... No, I was thinking of the solar plexus. Never mind. This is the second chakra. So this color is more of like an orangey gold color, and it has a 6-leaf lotus flower in the middle.
I kind of have to say the key facts about this card because I feel like this is relevant for somebody listening.
So they just list a couple of key facts
Okay.
about this particular sacred chakra card. Color orange, sound vam.
Vom.
Vom. That's
Vom.
I knew it.
I just remembered.
There's a group of ladies listening to this episode right now that know exactly what's happening. Well, we're gonna keep that as our inside joke. The element is water. Glands, it says testicles and ovaries. And keywords, I want. So that is very interesting.
So I was looking on my phone because I wanted to verify a thought process before I verbalized it. But with the chakras, I think it's interesting because the first few of them I feel kind of relates to Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which if anybody's taken a psychology class, like even an introduction one, they've discussed Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And the second level of the Maslow's hierarchy of needs is safety needs. Mm-hmm. And so I just think it's really interesting how similar those are. So personal security, access to resources, employment, so you can access those resources, health and prosperity, property, connection with family, those kinds of things.
Gotcha.
So when I'm doing it's an active meditation in the morning. It's very brief, but I will touch each of my chakras as I'm bringing energy up from the earth and giving it back to the sky and bringing it back down from the sky and giving it back down to the earth. And I thank Mother Earth for rooting me in her love, in embracing me in her love, and securing me in that love. And those are those first two, like rooting me and secure and embrace.
That's nice. I like that.
And employment, family, a home, those all give us security.
Sometimes.
Theoretically, they're supposed to give us security. We're supposed to be able to get security from those things. Not for everybody, but that is hopefully
Sorry.
what you're experiencing. But what I'm trying to say is, like, again, I just feel like there's this interesting connection between those two completely different ways of thinking.
I agree. It probably was part of I like to call those thought dumps that people have when they create movies. And
I mean, I
You
have no
know.
idea where Maslow came up with his hierarchy of needs, but
Sat in meditation somewhere.
I mean, it's not unfathomable to consider that that was in the ether and that thought plopped down in his head and he was not aligned with chakras.
So he put a different terminology against it. Yeah. That's kind of like,
I don't know.
that's how I always think of, like, I'm wondering if he was given the chakras, right? And when we say meditative state, he didn't have to sit there with his legs crossed and his eyes closed. He could have just been like, we're in a relaxed situation or just walking, and all of a sudden this thought comes in and it's like, huh.
Who knows? He could have been
Yeah.
doing like LSD and stuff. Like
Shit, true.
there were quite a few studies on psychologists where, and not just psychologists, but scientists, where they were, this was back in like the 60s, 70s, just to clarify, where they were stuck on a scientific problem. And to get access to this study, they had to be stuck on this problem for like more than 30 days.
Wow.
And what some of them expressed were things like, well, I was a part of the thing and I could see it from the perspective of being inside the thing. And it was just like, aha, that's the answer.
Well, just so y'all are fully aware, I have been able to see from the perspective of a blade of grass without the use of any type of drug or alcohol. So it is not
It's not required.
required.
And from my understanding, if that is a route that you choose, you can possibly become dependent on it rather than building your own skill.
Right. Which we all have. Okay.
All right. Was there anything else on chakra, sacral chakra?
Honestly, for me, as soon as I saw the word sacral, I thought of security. And I thought of maybe this is something where I know what part of this is for myself, but maybe connect with your own, those that are listening, those that are watching, and feel into, pause this video if you have to, like feel into what is the thought that's coming to you right now when you hear security.
I just had another image come in my head. You know, this chakra, I believe, is connected with like the womb. And if we can imagine being in the womb, it's warm. It's probably one of the safest places we will ever experience in the physical body for many, not all. And it was just this, I don't know, like a sense of comfort, I imagine.
Oh, yeah. Didn't have to worry about breathing air, making your own meals. Didn't have to pay rent.
Paying mortgage.
Your mom
Okay,
probably
so-
paid rent. But, you know, it's
Yeah. So, okay, something to do with security on this first card is what we're getting. Second card. Spiritual union. Oh, interesting. They're both twos.
I saw that.
So this card, it has a green border. I don't know what that indicates. Shyra's going to tell us.
Is an emotions card.
Okay, an emotions card. On this card, there are two humans. I assume they're humans. They're in human form. One appears to be more masculine. The other one appears to be more feminine. They are leaning into each other and their foreheads are not only touching, but it looks like they're crossing, kind of like a Venn diagram. And it's like they're sharing this deep connection. Looking over, it looks like a golden goblet. I can't tell if there's any liquid in there, but it definitely looks like there's golden liquid underneath it. And there's this beautiful like light behind them that's almost shining from their forehead. And it reminds me of the shape of a butterfly.
It does. It does. Like a green jewel or water drop, upside down water drop.
There is a leaf at the top.
Is that a leaf? Okay.
Yeah.
From my perspective, I can't see the leaf.
Do you want a closer look?
Yeah. You're right. That's a leaf. That's my bad. Sparkles. Okay. So what I'm feeling into with spiritual union, I'm hearing gathering, and I'm also hearing having conversations that you don't normally have. Maybe some of you that are listening to this, I'm getting a significant flower of life pattern right now in my visuals. So, and it's moving, like all of the waves within that flower of life pattern is moving. And I heard interconnectedness, and connecting deeper within. And one of the first thoughts that I had when I saw this card, though, was exactly what we talked about. And I think it's on the previous episode, that right now there's a much bigger message happening at this time for all of us to really start working on our own abilities, whatever that looks like, and having a lot more of those connections and sharing that with others, kind of helping to bridge the gap between what is truth for you. So
I love this card because, you know, in our human forms, we appear separate. And so we have this misunderstanding that we're all separate from each other. And when we open ourselves up and are vulnerable with each other, that's a level of intimacy, emotional intimacy. And when we kind of lock those emotions up, it's really hard to be authentic and feel truly cared for and satisfied in a relationship, whatever that relationship is. And I'm seeing this as an encouragement to work on not only your spiritual connection with yourself, but being open to, I want to say, like, open to experiencing that with others.
yes.
And another thought that came in looking at this card was, you know, we try to do so much on our own. And the reality of it is there's so much information floating out in the world that we as humans know or don't know. But the more we learn, the more we realize we don't know. And so when we come together, we know a lot more.
A lot more.
And we can come up with different scenarios and problem solving ideas when we work with other people.
I agree. And you never know who you're helping when you're having some of these discussions too. I know just today, sitting there getting my hair done, I start going into this conversation about repeating numbers. And all of a sudden I found myself talking way more about all the things that I have tried and that I practice and things that I don't normally tell strangers. And I was like, oh, I bet that sounds really weird, because that was my preconceived notion that it would come across weird to somebody that I don't normally have in that safety net of group of friends or the audience that we have attracted here. And she was like, not weird at all. And she's like, I'm so open to this, and all that sounds so amazing and special, and I'm aligned to it. And I was so shocked. And so sometimes you'll find that if you take a little bit of courage to expand out of your horizons, you might be pleasantly surprised. And if they don't like it, cool, let it go.
I mean, talk about a great example of creating your own reality, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like in your head, you're thinking nobody's going to accept this.
Right.
And that's the truth until you try.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
And it's only the truth because you're choosing that truth.
Which is why I'm really curious what this next one says.
All right. Card number 3. How did I know it was going to be upside down? All 3 of them were upside down. Okay. Third card, another emotion card, because it's green border. It's card number 4, and it says discontent and boredom. This card, I actually think it's kind of pretty because it's got a rainbow in it.
Who doesn't love a rainbow? You know?
So there is a masculine person standing, leaning against, it kind of looks like, what is that, Greek architecture?
What color he's standing on with the rainbow?
Oh my gosh, he's standing on the orange.
He's standing on the orange.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So he's kind of leaning on the edge of a balcony and looking inward towards the room and not outward towards the beautiful scene of rolling green hills with like a small castle in the background. And he just, it looks, it reminds me of the beginning of our conversation today, choosing to focus on the negative without being open to seeing all the beauty and joy around you.
Yep. That's exactly it. And a lot of your discontent can come from the things that you're focusing on. So
you're choosing discontentment.
Yep.
So
Amazing.
I'm also seeing like another connection here rather than just like the individual cards. So sacral chakra encouraging security, or at least evaluating what makes you feel secure, and encouraging that spiritual union because there is security in that, and recognizing that this discontentment, this choice of focusing on the negative actually brings you insecurity.
Yes. Yes, it does. And I am very, very happy that this is the spread that we got. I do want to take a quick gander at the twos, just because it came front and center on here. So I'm using Joanne Scribes.
YouTube didn't like that link the last time.
I didn't.
Remember? We got a something warning.
Okay. Well, we won't post the link in case we get a warning for using Joanne's Sacred Scribes, but
you can Google search.
You can Google
Joanne Sacred Scribes.
Yes, Joanne Sacred Scribes. Joanne spelled with 2 N's. So the number 2 encourages you to take a balanced, harmonious, and peaceful stance in all areas of your life. The message is to keep the faith and stand strong in your personal truths. Literally.
Wow.
Aligned with our cards. Yeah. So
okay. So and also just in numerology, the number 2 means partnership, balance, and understanding.
very nice.
Practicing patience, nurturing, and compassion.
Wow. Well, I think that that's a very, very cool spread, and I feel very connected to it. There's a lot in there that I know I can take away from it. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, personally as well, for sure. I thank you for sharing this aha moment. It was really insightful, and I really enjoyed, just learning about this and being open.
I know
to these suggestions or this advice from Mount Glass. Like, I want to experience more joy. I don't want to be focused on negativity. So here we go.
And what's the harm in trying the practice, right? Just try it out, see what happens. There's no harm in it because it's just you and your thoughts at the end of the day.
Well, what if I want to be angry?
Or stay exactly where you're at, and
That is your choice.
that's your choice. You could be happy with where you're at.
Enjoy the anger if you want.
Or enjoy. Let it shine. Let it rage. Oh my gosh. Oh, speaking of things shining, look down at that little button. If you're here on YouTube, hit that like, subscribe, notification bells. We appreciate it. We have social media.
We are at Love Always Self on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube Shorts. Check them out.
Check them out. And of course, guess what?
What?
We have a website.
What?
We have actually provided you with links to all the cards that we use during our collective card reading. We also have a journal. It is a gratitude journal. That's a really good journal to have on your bedside to write those little moments down on.
Yeah, that's a great way of recognizing and acknowledging and bringing more awareness into your being of all the things that you are grateful for.
And Carrie worked really hard on making that journal happen, and it's beautiful. It's even really soft in texture for some reason.
I do like that texture, yeah. I curated all those quotes for you on each page.
That's actually really cool. And you can find all of that in our Amazon shops. And yes, we get a little kickback, and we thank you for supporting this channel.
It goes right back to the podcast.
All of it.
Thank you guys so much for being with us today. We really appreciate you. We love you so much. And don't forget to spread that love outward. Love first.
Love last.
And love always.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Hey, listener, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us in this moment. We hope you enjoyed today's episode, and we look forward to our next connection.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow to stay notified of new content from Love Always Self. If you have any questions or topics you'd like for us to discuss, please hit us up on any of our social media platforms linked in the show notes below.
I'm Karista.
And I'm Shyra.
And until next time, Remember to love first
Love last.
and love always. Love Always Self podcast is meant for entertainment purposes only. We do not make any warranties about the completeness, reliability, and accuracy of the information presented in this podcast. Any action you choose to take upon the information in this podcast is strictly done so at your own risk, and we will not be held liable for any losses and damages in connection with the use of our podcast. Any and all medical concerns should be addressed with a licensed healthcare provider, as well as any questions that may be derived from the information discussed in this podcast.